Hello, to the TUC meeting, 20th of May. So we have our agenda today to review action items from last week, go over the dashboard with our PRs and issues, RFCs, and talk about any other business. So let's check on the action items from actually 2 weeks ago. We had Cloud Foundry Day last week. That's why we skipped the meeting. I think the recordings are not yet published. I've been checking today the YouTube channel. Yeah, action items from last week. Okay, I still need to create this community issue regarding concourse CLA. I've been talking to Derek. I think this is not during the Cloud Foundry Day, and this is not yet finished. So he agreed that most probably we need an action issue in the community to track this. So we had one about updating the CFP for the Cloud Foundry Day Europe. I can check. So I don't have, okay, I will think run. I don't see that this has been updated. And Amelia, I think you reached out to Anita. We can mark this as finished. Okay, then the dashboard. We have some PRs for new contributors. This one looks good. We are missing only approval from Amelia. Thanks. I will leave the inactive users for the end. Okay, here, Stephan. Yeah.
I think this is inconsistent. It should be the same user that opens the PR.
It is the wrong GitHub user, right? Okay, then we can go to the next one. Actually, I don't use this in progress. We can put this in progress. This is also not. So Richard signed the easy CLA, but still it's not covered. Something. Most probably he will need help from you, Amelia.
Yeah, I'll take an action item. I'll write it down.
Okay. It's in progress. So there is a need for a new repository in our foundational infrastructure working group Bosch Common. So we are refactoring a little bit some parts from Bosch, taking them out. Yeah, that's why I should be. I've been looking today in this, and what is actually this has projects?
I don't know. Maybe whether you have enabled the projects feature for your repository, something like that. But
We have them at organization level and at repo level, and I don't know. I think we are only using it at organization level.
Yes.
We're also using it here in the community repo, but it doesn't make sense to have it enabled on the project level or repo level.
Yeah, I doubt they're using it. Maybe someone out there on some repo is using it, but probably not all of them.
But most probably Aram saw that it is true here in Bosch compile action. Yeah.
We should probably disable it there as well. Yeah.
We can maybe accept the PR and then open. I can open one to disable. Now.
That's fine.
Going.
Let's unblock Aram.
Yeah. Check on the PS projects. I can take your okay. Here another regarding, okay, I'll accept it. Yeah.
There's one question I'm not sure, because there are some repositories, if I remember correctly, they are archived, and in addition, the default branch is changed. In one way, would you change the default branch if you archive it? And I don't know if that goes through the automation, but we will see. Because if you archived something, then usually you cannot change anything anymore. And don't know in which order it is done.
Yeah. Otherwise, we just have to unarchive and change the default branch, and
yeah,
should work, right?
Yes, that should work.
Should
or remove, do not switch the default branch and just archive it. That would also work, I guess.
Yeah, I think the point of changing the default branch is probably that they added something maybe to the README or something.
Okay, yeah.
Make it known what they did.
Let's see. Maybe it runs through and then everything is fine. If not, then we have to unarchive it, change the default branch, and then archive.
Yeah. This point here. Okay. We need to observe the automation. Do you get emails when the automation fails? Because I get emails.
if you filed or you merged the PR, that's why you
Yes.
get emails. I don't think I get emails.
Okay. Now the
Yeah.
inactive users one. So it's already 2 weeks. So there was one comment here. Christopher would like to stay. I suggested that he opens another PR after we merge, like the usual procedure we do.
Yeah, for ARI, there are a lot of users detected. So I opened a PR and we bring it into our workgroup meeting that will raise some discussions, I guess. So there are some prominent names in, and the Open Service Broker API area would be orphaned if that one is merged. And then we have to discuss what to do within an area without any contributors and approvers. But yeah, we can start the discussion in the ARI working group, and if we don't come to a conclusion, then we come back.
Yeah. We have merge conflicts.
Those are all people who are supposed to be removed.
Yeah, I think
I think.
these two are supposed
Right.
to be removed, and I know about Nicola. It's new, and I think also Tom Kennedy.
Yeah, you're right. It's just the first two. I'm looking at those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Existing people. And now I think it looks good. Okay. I've been surprised about the many users we have. But last month there was an issue with the inactive user automation. I didn't have time to look. I fixed it this month, and that's why this is so safe for 2 months. Okay. We have now all the PRs. There are no new RFCs. RFC status. I think this one has been implemented. I have to collect the information here. I can ask Jan. So
I mean, implemented, but it's not yet part in CF deployment. So I don't know what the scope really should be, because a feature that potentially could be used but never has been used is very close to it has never been implemented.
CF deployment in what? So there are no CNBs which are delivered with CF deployment.
And I'm also not aware that there's at least an, let's say, optional ops file or something like that that demonstrates how to do it, or something like that would be nice.
Yeah, okay.
Where the system build packs are uploaded. So I guess there's some more work needed until it can be considered as finished.
I will talk to Beyhan, check.
Yeah, this is just the implementation. There's nothing about like packaging cloud native build packs in a brush release and like co-locating them, right? Like that's the additional work you're talking about. Like
Exactly.
at least we should have one, right? Like to demonstrate that this can be done, and maybe even have it like have a CATS test or something that like tests that type of functionality. Like maybe just the Nginx with a Dora app or something. Or Dora is in Ruby, right? Yeah.
Dora's Ruby.
But there is an example. There are CATs for cloud native build packs, but they are using the build packs, as custom build packs, so from external repositories. But there is none provisioned as a system build pack.
Yeah, what's their the example app? What's it using? Which build pack?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but
that makes sense.
So it means that validation could be extended to validate returns system build pack also.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger discussion. One has to think about a strategy. Do we want to ship cloud native build packs? Do we have to package them as Bosch deployments so that they are shipped via this errand approach, like the standard build packs, or is there a complete alternative? How do cloud native build packs get uploaded?
It's not like the standard ones are not even an errand, right? Like it's just they are in a certain directory co-located on the cloud controller, and then they get loaded.
No, there are errands. I think there are Bosch releases for every build pack, and if this build pack, I think that's how they provide the content. And I think I have something in my head that is an errand that does the upload of the build packs.
I think this one is about
for cloud native build packs, you mean, or like for?
Yeah, for the standard build packs.
No, cannot be.
Yeah.
Is this creates so this adds create build pack to support CNB? Is this the way how you upload create build pack?
Yep, so you can use the CF API to upload the build pack.
I think this is the.
But somebody has to do it, right? Somebody has to upload it, and the default build packs, Java, Nginx, Node, Ruby, etc. If you deploy CF deployments, and they are simply there. How is that supposed for the cloud native build packs? Or you say you have to upload them every time manually, but that I don't know if this is a.
There is an install build packs thing config option in the cloud controller. I mean, it's Cappy. I don't know Cappy, right? But...
Copy release.
So this I opened what Ruben sent. I can talk.
Suppose start.
Post start. Yeah, that's a rake task. Okay, I see.
and it's executed in post start. I mean, it could have just have been an error.
There are Bosch releases for the build packs that provide the content because somehow the content has to go there.
Yeah, so they are co-located on the cloud controller, and then this post start task installs them and uploads them. So like it uploads it to itself, right? So it might not even go through the API. I don't know if it's a rate task. It might just put it in the database. I don't know how it does it.
I don't know.
I think the discussion which native build packs should be part of CF deployment is a separate one. Maybe this is about to have this functionality so that you can deliver, which is tested end to end.
I mean, we need at least one, right? Otherwise, you cannot prove that it works.
Yes, we need at least one in CF deployment to validate that it is working.
Yeah.
And I see that as part of, it could be in scope of this RFC. And then, regarding which will be delivered with CF and how they will be delivered with CF deployment. So I will talk to the owners of this RFC because it's coming from SAP to check what their opinion about that. Can take an action item. Noble, we have the GA version now. This is finished. Or do you see something still open, Ruben?
I heard from Ramon that he got a release and put it on Bosch IO and updated removed the beta banner.
Yes, we have now here Noble GA1.
Yeah. So I think we're good, right?
Yeah. We have some tasks open, but they are just they're optional stuff for Noble, which we decide in the app foundation infrastructure working group that we can finish the release the GA without finishing those.
Yep. Yeah, the Monet one was more of an explore, seeing if someone wanted to look into it, and nobody was willing to commit the time to make that happen. So we're stuck with Monet for Noble. And then there's and also I think we came up with an idea to do it like halfway through if we really wanted to. And then the RCS log one is just tracking an upstream issue. We have a workaround in place. This is just open to keep track of the upstream bug. Once that's fixed, we can remove the workaround.
Yes, correct. Now I can just input in here. Cannot select only Noble. I don't know. I can select. We don't have here other CLI. I don't think else to put. Great. No, and the rest is still in progress. Okay, regarding issues. There is a new one.
I have a offline discussion with Ruben. Yeah, I don't know why he opened an issue. We should discuss this on the PR. That is open.
There is. I also saw a PR open regard. I can put this with this one. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, also done here with the dashboard. Any other business? I saw there is a SonarQube request for approval. It looks actually. Have you checked that one? It requires now access to Copilot, read access to Copilot. It looks okay. I didn't want to just accept. If you're okay with that, I can accept after the meeting the request.
What is it? Sorry, I can't log in fast enough to click on it.
So we had this SonarQube cloud integration, I think, because of the Terraform provider, Stephan, if I'm.
There were from time to time some projects, I think Autoscaler as well requested.
So, Autoscaler, yeah.
And now SonarQube wants to have GitHub Copilot read access. I don't know.
Maybe he wants to use AI to generate, I don't know.
Generate more KPIs. That's important.
We can also ignore this request maybe if someone comes and says something is not working, then
Yeah, that's like usually I ignore all these app requests unless like they or some person asks for it, right? Like I would like to have some context on why we need to get these things in, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So we can ask in the TOC channel, maybe if someone comes back and explains why.
Yeah, I doubt they are looking at the TOC channel.
I don't know where to ask also.
No, me neither. So that's why I just ignore it. Like
Okay.
people active in our organization should know that the organization is controlled by the TOC. So
So you have to
yeah, because we cannot see in the request who is requesting it, right?
No.
yeah, we can.
Would have been really useful.
if people come back and ask. So we have it here. So now the cost saving initiatives are the other point. So I think in the discussion about Slack, there was a clear positioning that we need the history, Slack history. That means switching to the free plan of Slack is not an option for people. And that means migration, we have to check with Chris, but that means the decision is toward migration.
Yeah. I guess I would rather stay on a free plan with no history than migrate to something else. Or with limited history.
You can comment on the Slack.
Yeah.
I mean, the history aspect of the Slack has probably solved tremendous amounts of issues for folks over the years, because they can, especially if those are the type of people that tend to do research first before just blindly asking or opening.
What an idea.
So, I mean, I guess from a standpoint of, I know Slack, especially, I believe they were sold last year to Salesforce or something, so it doesn't surprise me that they're not really looking to cut deals and stuff like that. But possibly, and I can put this in the thread, but do we consider, cutting out users like we're doing on GitHub if they've been inactive for a period of time on Slack, and reduce the headcount? Just a thought. If it's headcount based, I mean, there's like 16, when I looked at the analytics, it said something like 16,000 users, but a majority of them were invited that never actually joined as a regular member. But even regular members were like 2,000 something, and I highly doubt there's that many active in a 6-month period. That, maybe pruning and cutting those costs down and just leave it on Slack.
Maybe we can prune the users to the contributors, simply because we manage that already. And I think it's even written in the roles, in the documents, and that a contributor has access to the Slack discussions. So that could cut down. So I personally like the history, and I know there are quite some issues and PRs where Slack discussions are referenced, and so I would even like to find a way that we can search for the URLs. So because it doesn't help if you have a ticket where Slack discussion was and then comes this funny link, and then you can search for it in a new system. That's also of limited value.
I talked to Chris about this. So I talked a little bit with Chris during the CF day, and he said that the Linux Foundation, or it was, I think, the last TUC meeting. The Linux Foundation overall is moving away from Slack. But we can put here, it's valid question to ask whether only having the active contributors in Slack is an option. Yeah. I can put this as action item. Maybe if Chris is there next time, we can just ask. If not, then we can then. Or we can ask in the Slack thread actually. Yeah, I can put this in the Slack thread as a result of the discussion today. But I'm also a little bit between efforts to migrate and having the free plan without history somehow. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. We can put maybe some bolting at some point. Okay, regarding the other costs, CI costs, there are some activities happening. This is great. So Amelia and Greg, I had a discussion about this with Greg and David. We discussed some parts like to have a central concourse, which you mentioned, Amelia, in your Slack post. Is
Yeah.
this something which Derek already agreed?
Yes. Yeah, Derek is his working group already has a concourse, I think, a fairly small concourse, and I think the plan is to grow it and open it up to users from other working groups. Which from my perspective would be great. I think he's planning on drawing up a RFC for it. So we'll see the plan.
Oh, this will be great. Yeah.
At least that's what I told him to do. Do you have hesitations about that? You look skeptical.
Not really. I would like it because there's even letting cost aside, there's quite some maintenance effort in these concourse. Things to think about is then credential management and all this.
Yeah.
But yep, one big concourse is probably cheaper than many smaller ones, even though for Ari, for instance, it is not that small because there's quite some load on it. And
yeah, I wonder how much overhead you're actually gonna save. Right, like if a concourse is big enough, if you have enough work, like on the foundational infrastructure side, I think our concourse is well utilized, right? It's only useful if you've an underutilized concourse. Because otherwise, like if it's not underutilized, you're only gonna complicate your upgrades. Like for example, we have on the foundation infrastructure side, we have a pipeline that updates concourse itself, but it pauses all the pipelines and stuff, right? So it pauses all the pipelines, updates concourse itself, and then unpauses everything. But yeah, if you start to do those types of things across working groups, people will start to get annoyed. Like concourse as a service is hard. It's a hard problem to solve, right? And like if it stays within your working group, then it's like, yeah, I mean, that's fine, right? Like we are responsible for the concourse, we know what it's doing, and if the automation fails, we know how to fix it. That becomes harder if it's a central team that you need to go escalate and stuff like that, right? And the whole credential management is hard. We don't have it solved on the foundation infrastructure side. We just have a limited number of people who can manage credentials, but that doesn't work. You have to solve it if you have multiple working groups. Otherwise, you have too big of a group that has access to all the credentials, which is not great. So
yeah, one of the things we talked about was using Vault instead of CredHub because Vault has a idea of splitting up into teams. Like CredHub is you have access to everything. Vault has more limits.
Or CredHub has ACLs as well. It's just you need to go do it, and we didn't want to do it. But the thing is with Vault, then you bring 3 instances again, right? Because of like I think it needs 3 instances for a normal deployment. So you're adding resources there as well, right? So you're adding more complexity, and then the question is, how much are you actually gonna save in the end, right? Like, so
I suspect we'll save because, like in ours, we have the Bosch overhead of running it, and I would assume multiple teams have that
you
overhead.
mean you have the Bosch director or what?
Yeah, and a web node, and we have 2 concourses in my working group. And now we can move to 0.
Yeah, maybe. Would be nice to do some more, like some estimates of the expected savings before actually committing.
I think that's going to be impossible to do.
I mean, the back of a napkin, right? Like you already said, we expect you're not going to save on workers unless you have like underutilized workers, right? So you can look at the worker utilization. If you expect there to be if there's underutilization, then there's a potential savings because you're gonna combine the workloads so you have 100% utilized workers. I don't think we have that problem.
I think one savings in that area we can have is Windows workers are very expensive. And we're all running different Windows workers. I know Derek's group already has a Windows worker. We have our own. And so being able to share that one Windows worker that we need for limited workloads.
Why do we need Windows workers?
Because we test on Windows.
Yeah, no, I know, but can we do it on GitHub Actions? Because GitHub Actions is we get at 100% discount.
I think GitHub Actions is a much further way off than simply moving our pipeline.
Yeah, I think concourse working group has already a concourse, and if they want to onboard other working groups, we can try with one working group like Amelia is. We can.
Should we start with an RFC for this, right? Like, because then we can at least discuss the credential management side and those types of things, like how we want to implement those things. Like, it would be good to have
Derek's working on one.
Yeah, this was my understanding, Derek.
Okay, that's good. Then we can have this discussion in there. We go from there.
Yeah.
It's not just about concourse though, it's about all other costs. I see this how to organize this where yes, it's very nebulous and very I don't know what goal to aim for. So any a direction towards what we can be spending would be much appreciated.
Yeah, I think we should do a big push for GitHub Actions. For like at least the things that can, right?
I was thinking in that, so some guidance maybe needs to come from us. So Chris was asking whether we need a working group about this. What is your opinion on that?
On looking at cost or on managing concourse?
Managing the costs, looking at costs, yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of a group doing it. I don't know if it needs to be a working group.
I also think that maybe a working stream or something, some people.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a monthly meeting that the tech leads all get together for each group or something. Though I hate the idea of me doing this. I need a co-lead from SAP.
Actually, what we can do, maybe we can host in the TOC meeting. So the TOC invite the working. One of the meetings could be about
that's a good idea. Do a financial meeting every month.
And we can talk about the different, so that leads across the working groups share their what they achieved or what is good, and then we can compile some common guidelines. How to.
Yeah, I think with like what I've seen work in the past, I really hated it, but like just setting a target, like a certain percentage of stuff that you want to reduce overall, right, by a certain time, and then we start like gathering numbers. So maybe every TOC meeting we get an update on where we are at towards that target, and then we can just figure out like how much savings can we do, and then like every whatever quarter, we come up with another number, right? And we just go down again with the cost. So basically, that's
I would
a
like
way
to know what our budget is, though. I
But I
don't
mean,
see
like,
the point of continuing to get smaller and smaller if we have the budget to test properly.
Yeah, this is
sure,
But I was 20,000 last month. This month I'm 5. So I think I'm good for the year. I cut 75%.
yeah, but you did it before we had a target, so it doesn't count.
Okay,
That's
I'll
how
jack it back
targets
up
work.
again.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
put
how
the
it
leak
works.
back
Like,
in.
yeah, definitely. That makes sense. You need to game the system, otherwise targets don't work. But yeah, like this would be a board thing, right? Like the board needs to come up with a number. That's not on us.
Yeah.
And then we need to help guide the cost saving, right? Like figure out which areas, like guidance on technical implementations, technical guidance on how to achieve the cost savings. I think that's the division of work.
I mean, in Ari, there are a few ideas. Some are more expensive for the implementation. Some will delay then the validation, make it slower simply, and therefore, and then yeah, there's this magic. We move something to GitHub Actions where possible, but that saves then concourse costs maybe, but not environments. Because at the end of the day, we want to test at least the final testing on a real environment and not on some simulation washlight stuff that, because that postpones then just the trouble to see of deployment, and that's I think
that
the wrong
makes sense.
direction.
But I mean, like you can, it's basically fan out or something. Like you first, like maybe like unit test, like you can test like every commit on.
Yeah. That's all. That exists already on GitHub Actions.
Okay.
That's not the point. It comes later. And if we had a GitHub Action example implementation, how to spin up a bubble environment and tear it down in a good way, that would help actually. And then I would say our integration tests could move to GitHub Actions. That's at least achievable.
I think if one group wanted to lead the charge on moving to GitHub Actions, that would be great because I'm sure we could all benefit from some
But I would not
templating.
expect that the costs go down drastically. As mentioned, we would save a little bit of cost on Concourse because we need a smaller one because it has less pipelines. Maybe even we can remove it completely one day because also the release process can go to GitHub Actions, but the bubble environments will stay. Here it's more short-lived. I mean, there is not that much long-lived in Ari, but a few, and that's where some more work is needed, I guess. But yeah, there are opportunities to cut it.
So I tried to catch a little bit the discussion in notes. So we need to target. This should be a question towards Chris or the board.
And we need numbers, right? We need to know per working group who's like doing the most spending, right? Because then we know who needs to go to work.
Should
I mean,
we,
like we can also justify it. Like maybe it's probably foundation infrastructure anyway, right? Like, but anyway, we can look into it. Why is that cost so high, and like, can we do things there?
I think we need a Slack channel concretely for this discussion. So maybe execution leads and TOC, and then Chris can share the cost per working group and so on.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So to have a dedicated channel where we talk and discuss also.
What also helps is a regular reporting of that automated. Simply put the numbers into the Slack channel every month because that usually, if you are on the bad end, you work a little bit more.
Yeah, you don't know when
topic.
you leak all the time. Sorry.
At least it helps for similar activities here in the company.
Don't need to spam all people, but at least execution needs and TOC can then. And we need.
Yeah, I mean, it can even be an agenda item in our TSC meeting, right? just like
Mhm.
briefly looking at where we are at with the cost, CI cost.
Okay, I think there is one action items directly to create a Slack channel and so did we agree about having hosting in Tuesday meeting one per month, so this cost saving? I can announce this. I can create a Slack channel and then write there this. We can we put a date? Which date? Maybe.
Do you want to choose the first one of the month? That might give us 2 weeks to warn people.
So 2nd of June, so to say, will be the first time. Okay, yeah.
Does that work?
It works for me at least. It is not a public holiday in US.
I don't think so.
It's 4th of June or 4th of July was
4th of July.
Because if there's one public holiday in the week, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I will create
Oh yeah, Memorial Day is the week before, so we're good.
okay. Yeah, I because I was talking to my brother and he said that there is a public holiday in okay. Is there anything else you want to discuss? Doesn't look like we have another topic, then we are done for today. Thank you for your time. Take care and see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.